We're back with the gay daddies. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to episode 2 of Buddy Daddies. So I did the first impressions to this a while back, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. It obviously bore a lot of resemblance to stuff like Spy Family, but here you have these two assassins, Kazuki and Rei, who are on Christmas Eve tasked to take out a target, and while doing so, they get involved in these hijinks involving this, like, what, 5-year-old girl? Very young, very cutesy. And the target they end up killing, they find out happens to be the girl's father. But I don't think any of them knew about that. I don't think, like, she knew about that. I don't think uh the father knew about that. I think it was like kind of like this, like, out of wedlock kind of thing. And so now it's like this kind of entire thing with Kazuki and Rei having to take care of her. So it's going to be interesting to see, like, how this furthers, how this relationship goes. And it's one of those shows that are not like, I don't think, based on the first episode, that this is going to be explicitly gay or anything, but it's going to be one of those that is, like, so, like, subtextual that it's blatantly obvious. It's like, oh, this is just super gay. But it's not going to, like, have, like, any explicit like, queerness actually to it. But I'm still excited to see where this goes. Right now it's only one season. I don't know if it's going to have anything more than that, but even if it's just the one, as long as it's a satisfying, enjoyable run, I'm still ready to have fun with it. A lot of rhyming in there that was entirely unintentional. But let us get this going and see what episode 2 has in store. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So this was fairly simple. A pretty simplistic second episode here, getting us to see the kind of dynamic that we're starting to get going with Kazuki, Rei, and Miri. And we see that this relationship is just kind of hectic at the moment because obviously Kazuki and Rei are not used to having a kid around. It's pretty crazy, pretty hard to handle. And it's something that they're going to have to figure out and get used to. But we also see that she is actively interfering with their job because she doesn't want them to just leave her home. And at the same time, taking her with them can cause problems because they're, assassins. So she almost has to find, they almost have to find some way around it. They either have to find a way to have her, like, stick with a babysitter or something, or figure something else out, because this is not going super well as it is. We see that their job here is to deal with this guy and this scaredy cat boss man and all. And she ends up interfering by, having to go potty. Which, surprisingly, the guard at the door does seem to, like, kindly help her out with that. But, yeah, it all goes wrong once, she sees Kazuki, and everything just escalates from there. But we also meet this guy who I believe it said his name was Rio Ogino. Um, he apparently is, I guess, another assassin who was away for a while and has come back and is going to be in town for the foreseeable future. And from what we can tell, based on the ending of him taking over that case, he seems to be just a straight up psychopath. Unlike Kazuki and Rei, the way he handles things is very much direct, in your face, and it's just like he's just gonna kill everyone. And his entire line at the end there of like, oh, say your last words, but then after he kills him, it's like, oh, those last words don't like add anything of value to my collection. It's like, Jesus fuck, dude. So yeah, he's probably gonna end up being a problem. But with Q Chan's help, Kazuki and Rei do now know the location of Miri's mother, but it's very clear she's not going to take Miri back. She threw Miri off on her on the father in the first place because like she didn't want to take care of her, and she's like, "Oh, you take care of the kid." It's like she's not going to take her back. She's not going to deal with this. She's probably a pretty terrible mom. Probably a pretty terrible person. I would wager entirely selfish and just probably not very nice. So I don't think things are going to go super well there. Yeah. Um, I assume we'll probably check on that next episode, but yeah, I'm not like seeing anything good coming from this at all. Kazuki and Rei are going to just have to figure out like how to handle this and deal with having, a 4-year-old. um I'm very very interested to see where this goes though. It's got a lot of good comedy, but like the action is pretty surprisingly intense and can get pretty crazy. I like that it doesn't shy away from the intensity. And this is, I don't remember if I said this in my episode 1 reaction, but this is actually one thing I appreciated over Spy Family. Is because this series isn't afraid to actually delve into the assassin side of, of the story of Kazuki and Rei and everything. And I know it's still early, but that was one of my biggest issues with Spy Family, and one of the reasons why I kind of just like dropped it and just stopped caring about it, because my biggest issue with Spy Family is that it was basically just the family. Like Lloyd had some stuff to do occasionally, but Yor was complete, like the assassin thing for Yor completely dropped. Like after like the first few episodes that she was in, like the assassin thing, it's like she never just had anything come up with that again. And it's like, don't get me wrong, I like Yor as like the housewife type and everything, but it's like the assassin side to her was a side that I really liked to see, and it just completely was dropped. And then outside of like showing her strength and stuff on occasion. And then you have like you have the spy stuff just not really being that interesting. And the actual like family stuff or the school stuff ends up just being super fucking repetitive, to the point where it stops being entertaining, it stops being fun to watch, and I'm just not enjoying it because it's just the same shit. It feels like it's not actually going anywhere. It feels like it's not making any progress. And that was my biggest issue with Spy Family, and the reason why I did end up, stop watching it. Because I just felt like it wasn't accomplishing anything. It's one of those series that does not need to be long, and honestly should not be long. And yet it's a lot longer than it should have been. And just because of that, it just keeps repeating the same bullshit over and over. And it just gets boring after a while. It's just a waste of a concept. It's the same issue I had with Miraculous, Ladybug and Cat Noir and all that. Um, the reason I dropped Miraculous was because it was just the same thing. It just kept the status quo over and over and over, and refused to let any actual significant changes or, character updates or anything happen. It just kept like keeping the same status quo. And from what I've heard, it hasn't really changed with that. Nothing has really changed with Marinette and Adrian's relationship. Nothing has changed with any of the other characters getting involved. It's stayed. They keep to the status quo so they can keep it going, so they can keep milking it for more viewership and money and whatnot. And it makes the show boring. And that was what ruined Spy Family for me. And this was made especially clear on my second viewing of the first season of Spy Family. Like, I finished out the season in terms of reactions, and then I was like watching it again with my sister. I'm realizing like I'm not enjoying this, and I don't want to watch anything new about this because it's not gonna be anything new. I'm not invested in this series anymore, and it sucks. But Buddy Daddies luckily seems to not be that kind of show from what we can gather. One, like I said, it seems like it's probably going to keep the heavier, more intense action stuff as part of the ongoing narrative constantly. But the cutesy fun family stuff is also just a lot cuter, if I'm being honest, and that might be an unpopular opinion, but I don't really care. I think Miri is already cuter than Anya. And I liked Anya. I thought Anya was adorable. But I think Miri is cuter, honestly. And I think Miri being such an ordinary child is the reason. Because Anya was this sidekick and everything, and I think that was like completely unnecessary and kind of like gave this like vibe to Spy Family that just didn't work as well, in my opinion. I feel like it would have worked better if Anya didn't have any powers and wasn't some kind of secret government experiment. I think that would have worked better. But I think just the interactions are more fun as well. Kazuki and Ray being completely unequipped to handle this, as opposed to Lloyd being, like, honestly way too instantly good at handling a child, is just... It's more entertaining. It's more fun to watch. Say what you will about that, but I prefer that than watching someone who just has their shit together at all times. It's just not as fun to me. Like, Lloyd is almost too perfect. That's a way to put it. And it's just, I wish he struggled with, with Anya a little bit more than he did. And I'm not saying I'm not saying it was exactly perfect. He did struggle a little bit, but definitely nowhere near to the level that Kazuki and Ray are. So, I think that was the biggest, those were the, like, biggest issues I had with Spy Family. It's just, it felt like it just didn't handle things as well as it should have. And it just doesn't feel like it's going anywhere. And yet, Spy Family is the more popular one, and I don't understand why. Because just 2 episodes of this, I find this to be much more interesting, much better than all of Spy Family's first season so far. And that's wild to say, but it's what I truly feel at this moment. And that could change. I don't know how the rest of this season of Buddy Daddies is going to be. But I'm just saying, based off of where we're at now, honestly more invested in Buddy Daddies after 2 episodes than I was in Spy Family after 2 episodes. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see, because things could change, anything could happen. My opinion might shift a little, might change a little as I continue to watch. It's going to depend on how the series goes. So yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. Obviously, no spoilers. Don't tell me anything about the future with this series. But I'm excited to see, nonetheless, what happens. So, thank you as always so much for tuning in. I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See you all next time.